Krishna. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayo Vishnupad Parahams Parivrajapacharya Ashtotra Srimad Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Goswami Shri Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Deputy Founder Acharya Shri Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samveda Gaura Bhaktivrinda ki, Itai Gaur Premanande, all Gauris assembled devotees, all Gauris assembled devotees, all Gauris assembled devotees, all Gauris, all Gauris, all Gauris to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Questions by Vidura, text number 17. Sanirgata Kaurava Punya Labdo. Sanirgata Kaurava Punya Labdo. Gajavaya Pada Padani. Gajavaya Pada Padani. Anvakramat Punya Chikirshayorvyam. अन्वाक्रमात् पुण्यचिकीर्षयोर्व्याम् अधिष्ठितो यानि सहस्रमूर्ति अधिष्ठितो यानि सहस्रमूर्ति स्वनिर्गता कौरवपुण्यलब्धो गजावयातीर्थपदापदानि पुण्याचिकीर्षयोर्व्याम् अन्वक्रमात् पुण्यचिकीर्षयोर्व्याम् अधिष्ठितो यानि सहस्रमूर्ति सनिर्गता कौरवपुण्यलब्धो गजावयातीर्थपदापदानि अन्वक्रमात् पुण्यचिकीर्षयोर्व्याम् अधिष्ठितो यानि सहस्रमूर्ति Devotees, Sanirgata Kaurava Punya Labdo Vayatirtha Pada Padani Anvakramat Punya Chikisha Yovyam Nishchito yani sahasramurti Sanirgata kaurava punya labdo Gajavayatirtha pada padani Anvakramat punya chikishayovyam Ayasramurti. Anyone else? Saha, he Vidura, Nirgata, after having quit, Kaurava, the Kuru dynasty, Punya, piety, Labdha, so achieved, Gaja Avayat, from Hastinapura, Tirtha Pada of the Supreme Lord, Padani, pilgrimages, Anvakramat, took shelter, Punya, piety, Chikirshaya, desiring so, Urvyam, of high grade, Adhishtita, situated, Yani, all those, Sahasra, thousands, Murtihi, forms. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. By his piety, Vidura achieved the advantages of the pious Kauravas. After leaving Hastinapur, he took shelter of many places of pilgrimage, which are the Lord's lotus feet, with a desire to gain a high order of pious life. He traveled to holy places where thousands of transcendental forms of the Lord are situated. Purport. Vidura was undoubtedly a highly elevated and pious soul. Otherwise, he would not have taken his birth in the Kaurava family. To have high parentage, to possess wealth, to be highly learned, and to have great personal beauty are all due to past pious acts. But such pious positions are not sufficient for obtaining the grace of the Lord and being engaged in his transcendental loving service. Vidura considered himself less pious, and therefore he decided to travel to all the great places of pilgrimage in the world in order to achieve greater piety and advance nearer to the Lord. At that time, Lord Krishna was personally present in the world, and Vidura could have at once approached him directly, but he did not do so because he was not sufficiently freed from sin. One cannot be 100% devoted to the Lord unless and until he is completely free from all effects of sin. Vidura was conscious that by the association of the diplomatic Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, he had lost his piety and was therefore not fit to associate at once with the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 7.28, this is confirmed in the following verse. Eshantvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridavrata. Persons who are sinful asuras like Kamsa and Jarasandha cannot think of Lord Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth. Only those who are pure devotees, those who follow the regulative principles of religious life, as prescribed in the scriptures, are able to engage themselves in Karma Yoga and then Jnana Yoga, and thereafter by pure meditation can understand pure consciousness. When God consciousness is developed, one can take advantage of the association of pure devotees. Syan mahat sevaya vipra punya tirtha nishevanat. One is able to associate with the Lord even during the existence of this life. Places of pilgrimage are meant for eradicating the sins of the pilgrims, and they are distributed all over the universe just to give facility to all concerned for attaining pure existence and God realization. One should not be satisfied, however, merely by visiting the places of pilgrimage and performing one's prescribed duties. He should be eager to meet the great souls who are already there, engaged in the service of the Lord. In each and every place of pilgrimage, the Lord is present in His various transcendental forms. These forms are called Archa Mortis, or forms of the Lord, which can be easily appreciated by the common man. The Lord is transcendental to our mundane senses. He cannot be seen with our present eyes, nor can He be heard with our present ears. To the degree we have entered into the service of the Lord, or to the proportion to which our lives are freed from sins, we can perceive the Lord. But even though we are not free from sins, the Lord is kind enough to allow us the facility of seeing Him in His Archa Murtis in the temple. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore He is able to accept our service by presentation of His Archa form. No one therefore should foolishly think the Archa in the temple to be an idol. Such an Archa Murti is not an idol but the Lord Himself. And to the proportion to which one is freed from sins, he is able to know the significance of the Archa Murti. The guidance of a pure devotee is therefore always required. In the land of Bharatvarsha, there are many hundreds and thousands of places of pilgrimage distributed all over the country. And by traditional practice, the common man visits such holy places during all the seasons of the year. Some of the Archa representations of the Lord situated in different places of pilgrimage are mentioned herewith. The Lord is present at Mathura, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, as Adi Keshava. The Lord is present at Puri, Orissa, as Lord Jagannatha, also known as Purushottama. He is present at Allahabad, Prayag, as Bindu Madhava. At Mandara Hill, he is present as Madhusudana. In the Anandaranya, he is known as Vasudeva, Padmanabha and Janardana. At Vishnu Kanchi, he is known as Vishnu. And at Mayapura, he is known as Hari. There are millions and billions of such Archa forms of the Lord distributed all over the universe. All these Archa Murtis are summarized in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the following words. Sarvatra Prakashatanra Bhakte Sukha Dite Jagatera Adharma Nashi Dharma Stapite. The Lord has distributed Himself all over the universe just to give pleasure to the devotees, to give the common man facility to eradicate his sins and to establish the religious principles in the world. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Pada Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. By his piety, Vidura achieved the advantage of the pious Kauravas. After leaving Hastinapur, he took shelter of many places of pilgrimage, which are the Lord's lotus feet. With a desire to gain a higher state order of pious life, he traveled to holy places when thousands of transcendental forms of the Lord are situated. Hare Krishna. Seek the blessings of all devotees to share some reflections from this verse for my own purification and to understand the verse and its glory fully. And this is a section where it is very apt that just now that devotees are all living for a dham, a holy place. The glory of visiting a holy place is coming. So it may be coincidence or it may be the Lord's divine arrangement that today we are discussing both the glory of visiting a holy place and the glory of worshipping the Lord's deity form. Because some devotees who are not going to the holy place, they are in stay back to worship the Lord's deity form. So both are being glorified here. And Vidura, he is manifestation of Dharmaraj, Yamaraj. Yamaraj was cursed by Mandavya Muni when he thought he was improperly punished. So, Yamaraj, who is the Lord of Justice, although he gave no appropriate justice when Mandavya Muni, he was just in his cottage, fully absorbed in samadhi, and there were some robbers who came and kept some of their loot, and he was caught along with all these robbers. And when he was presented, so the the king gave the punishment that let all these be pierced with shula, with a what you call not a trident. A shula is a spear, with a spear. And there are two versions. One version says that that Mandavya Muni was pierced, but because he was highly elevated, he didn't die, or the spear did not harm him. It went through him because he had already attained a very highly elevated body. Another is that the king got to know that a rishi is unnecessarily framed and is able to be pierced. Now we all know when we get a injection, a small little tip, more than the pain of the injection is anticipation of the pain of the injection. And some people can really make it into a full drama before they are pierced an injection. How many of you have fear of having injection? Almost everyone. So what to speak of a spear? So although he was not pierced, the anticipation of him being pierced, and that too unjustly. When you are punished for a mistake that you have not done, then it hurts a lot. So then it said that he did tapasya to bring Yamaraj in his presence, and he asked Yamaraj, why was I given such a punishment, or about to be given such a punishment? And then Yamaraj, he looks back in the database that Chitragupta has, and then he tells him that when you are a small child, you pierced a insect with a grass. When I hear this, then I get terrified with all the violence that I committed as a small little child, catching the butterflies, trying to hang them, or we call them military flies, and trying to put a thread around them and make them fly. Or some children pick the wings of these flies, remove the wings. So because he pierced with a small little grass, and as a punishment to that, now Yamaraj was giving him, Mandavya Muni, the same punishment. And Mandavya Muni became very angry that this is unfair. Children don't have karma. When you are a small little child, you don't know what you are doing, and therefore, I am not supposed to be punished. And because you lack discretion, whom to be punished, whom not to be punished, curse you to be a Shudra, a low-born person. And you will have the wisdom, but you will be born as a Shudra. So one of the acharyas explains that why did Vidura come as Yamaraj? Why Yamaraj come as Vidura? One is this apparent punishment that he got. But another was a doubt that Yamaraj used to have about punishment. That why don't people rectify without getting a punishment? that can't people be educated, can't people be made aware of the troubles of going through sinful activities? And because Yamaraj had this doubt that can't people be rectified by knowledge and by experience? That maybe people don't have enough knowledge of the troubles that they go through. And he was kind of questioning his own job, his own, that instead of me sitting here and after having everything done, as it says, a stitch in time saves nine. That if I try to go and educate people, give them moral instructions, even before people go to such an extent that they have to punish them towards the end. As they say, prevention is better than cure. And the Lord, as Paramatma, not to just give through speaking, he wanted to give Vidura a realistic experience that you go and try. Most of us, Prabhupada explains that we come to this material world because we think, can I enjoy even without the Lord? The Lord then gives us a facility. You go and try. So same way Vidura, Yamaraj was placed in this situation where he was continuously counseling that this is not proper. But it didn't work. In Hindi they say, लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. That sometimes we become so adamant that we just don't want to change our behavior, change our mindset. Therefore, it is said that a good person is one who, when he commits a blunder, commits a mistake, he recognizes his mistake. And not just recognizes his mistake, but he repents for his mistake. And not just repents for his mistake, he also rectifies his mistake. And such a person who can recognize the mistake that he is doing, even that's why he said, the whole purpose of punishment in the Vedic culture was for a person to become aware, to recognize that what he has done is wrong. And Govind Prabhu tells that, different people require different levels of punishment to become aware that if somebody is, high in their consciousness, then they don't need to be told by anyone. They are so self-aware that even before somebody points out, they understand that they committed a mistake. And such a class is usually the Brahmana class, who are so elevated in consciousness. Even Parikshit Maharaj, the moment he committed a mistake, as he is coming out, he is doubting his actions. He is doubting whether what I have done is proper or not. Did that sage, was he really in samadhi? Or was he faking? And why did I do such a big mistake, such a big thing of placing a dead snake on this person just because he was doing his sadhana, his duty properly, of being a Brahmana? And it said, like, for a Kshatriya, who is a bit lower in his self-awareness, he has to be spoken little harshly, or he has to be pointed out. So when words are spoken, then the Kshatriya becomes aware. Oh. And therefore, for a Kshatriya like Arjuna, if somebody speaks harshly or improperly towards him, then it is worse than death. for a Kshatriya, being insulted, being pointed false is worse than death. And most of us know, we can gauge ourselves that do we repent for a mistake that we commit or something that we said after somebody points that out, or somebody says what you did is improper, or by ourselves. And then the next level is that words are also not enough. For a Vaishya, something that belongs to him has to be taken away as a fine. Usually traffic rules, there are so many warnings even in the driving tests, everything is spoken. But, and also there are notices put, if you break the speed limit, you will be fined, it is not correct. But most people, only when their pocket gets affected, they become mindful of following the rules. That in the Western world, say when an ambulance is passing, and if you don't give a side, if you don't stop by the side, your license is cancelled permanently. So big thing especially in the West, that if you don't have a license, driving license. Yesterday I was coming from some place from Crawford Market, and ambulance was behind us. It was continuously honking, but people were trying to give side, but there was hardly any space, and even in that, people were trying to go ahead. So for a Vaishya, or for most, that only when you levy a fine, then, like even sometimes with shoes in the temple, people place anywhere. Now our temple management keeps telling you should place only at the shoe stall, because there are occasions where the most expensive shoes are stolen. But then we have to also levy a fine. If you place your shoes anywhere, then 100 rupees, 200 rupees. It is not that to make money. It is to make the person understand that what is proper or what is improper. And for a Shudra, for someone who is lowest consciousness, even levying a fine is not enough. He has to be physically punished. And only when he is physically punished, apart from insulting him, taking money from him. So we can see in the court of law there are different levels of punishment. And Vidura, he is seeing that he is trying to counsel the Kauravas constantly, so that they don't get into severe situations where they are punished heavily, but it's not working. And as they say, the thing that broke the camel's back was when Dhritarashtra sends a messenger to Sanjaya, to Yudhishthir, saying that you please compromise, please, anyway you are in the forest now, and I think spending life in the forest for 13 years, you might have got used to it. So better you stay in the forest, let my children, let the Duryodhana be here. But Yudhishthir, because it was their rightful inheritance, and also Krishna was insisting that it is not about owning the kingdom, but it is serving the kingdom with proper dharma. And all that Pandavas asked was just give us 5 villages. But even for that he was not ready. And after this entire thing happened, then Yudhishthir was sent this message. And Vidura, he becomes severely annoyed that to what level Krishna came personally to counsel you, to come to a compromise where they just wanted 5 villages, and you can keep the rest. Even that was no not acceptable, and now you are sending a message to them through Sanjay that don't even come here, that just stay in the forest. Height of no shamelessness or height of selfishness that Dhritarashtra was exhibiting here. So therefore it said a good person is one who recognizes his mistakes, no, repents and rectifies his mistake. But a bad person is one who rejoices in his mistake, rationalizes his mistakes, and repeats his mistakes. That you beat up someone and then you are very happy about it. Sometimes our devotees, when they tell about what all they did in their past, all the gadbad, they sometimes are rejoicing, what all I did in the past. And also we can rationalize that it was not my fault, it was the other person's fault. We can easily, as Gaurampu says, rationalize the use of intelligence in the service of false ego. That how we use our intelligence. And once intelligence, Krishna explains in the Gita, once the senses are the doorways to enjoyment, and how to enjoy, the mind starts to plan, but the willingness and that this is the right thing to do, the intelligence establishes, yes, you can continue to do this. So once intelligence is corrupted, then it becomes very difficult to change our bad habits, to change our decisions. Our senses are diverted, distracted, still okay. But once we are convinced that, say, continuous use of mobile or some game, once we are convinced, then once intelligence is convinced about it, then we'll come up with all kinds of excuses that how doing this is proper. So therefore Duryodhana, he was not rejoicing the blunders or the sins that he was committing, but he was also rationalizing his mistakes. And repeatedly he was again and again attempting to kill the Pandavas. And after doing all this, Vidura trying his, it said that Vidura comes to Dhritarashtra because Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya tells him that the full reply of Yudhishthira I will share tomorrow. And at that night, Dhritarashtra was not able to sleep. And at the dead of the night, he calls Vidura, he calls Duryodhana. And this discussion happened in the middle of the night. And Vidura, in the Mahabharata, the Vidura Niti, what he speaks to Dhritarashtra is around 8 chapters about personal integrity, about social welfare, and also about spiritual integrity. That is where this Niti comes, that for the sake of a family, welfare of a family, if an individual is totally going wrong, he can be forsaken. For the sake of a village, a family can be exiled. And for the sake of a nation, a village or a state can be punished or exiled. But for the sake of one's soul, one can even give up one's entire, the whole world. So Vidura is trying to tell that this is not good for the nation, and this is not also good for you as an individual for your spiritual progress. But he doesn't, and at the end of it, Duryodhana, he becomes angry, supremely angry, and he speaks the verses that we just spoke or discussed before. And after all his attempts, he understands that this is not the right time, and I am just wasting my time here trying to give some good sense to uh, the Kauravas. As they say, there are some category of people that are called as hum nahi sudrenge. That no matter what you say, they'll always find some way to justify their mindset, their attitude, their behavior. So once he understands uh, Vidura, he thinks, let me purify myself because of this involvement with the sinful tendencies, the sinful behavior of the Kauravas. I also have been loaded with so much sin. Although Vidura was a pure devotee, and in the last, a few days back only, Krishna came personally. When Krishna came personally to Hastinapura, he came to Vidura's house, not going to Duryodhana's house to have the Chapan Bhog. And in Vidura's house, he ate, some say, dry roti and sabji, and some say just the banana peel that Vidurani was offering. And that itself showed how much affection Krishna has for him. But he considers himself that because of this association, I have been polluted. And I need to go to the holy places to purify myself. And therefore Prabhupada mentions here, Eshantu antagatam papam. We cannot approach God when we are impure. Therefore, even when we approach the Archa Morti, the Vigraha of the Lord, we do Shuddhi, we do Bhuta Shuddhi, we do Chitta Shuddhi, that we wear the fresh clothes. Dhoti doesn't just mean, yes, a particular, a formation of the cloth, but also that which is dhuta, that which is clean, is called dhuta, is dhoti. So we go with fresh clothes, taking a bath, not having any kind of contamination, and even there we try to purify our consciousness. And one of the biggest impurities that we can carry is ego, ahankar, that I am. And that ahankar is the worst impurity which the Lord doesn't accept. If you do any service with having ahankar, then the Lord is not pleased to accept that. There's one long back a service, Radhanath Maharaj was giving a talk, and he said, if you're placing a necklace or a garland or a cloth on the Lord, thinking that by my the seva, I will be glorified. People will glorify how good a dresser or a pujari or a cook you are. Then that necklace will appear to the Lord as a thorn in pricking the Lord. So therefore we place ourselves as Dasa Dasa Dasanudas. Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayos Dasa Dasanudas. That, O Lord, I don't have any qualification to be able to worship you. Only through the mercy of my spiritual master, I have got this opportunity to serve him and serve you. So in that mood of humility, and that's why we offer also obeisances. Obeisances means completely humbling ourselves, that I am as low as a straw on the street. Just like there are some straws that are lying. So we humble ourselves before we approach the Lord. So Vidura, he is going to these holy places to purify himself and to eradicate all the sins that he has accumulated. And we can see that in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, when Mahaprakash pastime was happening, the Lord was calling each and different devotees to come. that where is Haridas, where is Haridas Thakur, where is Sridhar Kolavecha. And when so many devotees, Lord was calling them that, the and but he was not calling out Mukunda's name. Although Mukunda was continuously with the Lord, he was a great singer. Lord was not calling out, Mukunda's name. And then when devotees urged that, "Oh Lord, please call Mukunda, that he is so dear to you and is eagerly waiting, no, to come in your, take your darshan in this Mahaprakash Swarupa." And that time, Lord Chaitanya becomes very angry, and he says, "Mukunda, when he comes in front of me, he is glorifying, he is speaking the Bhagavatam, but when he is not with the devotees, he is going and hearing Yoga Vashishta and is associating with the Mayavadis. And one who is associating with the Mayavadis, he becomes polluted, and I don't want to even see his face." And at that time, our Acharyas explain that the Lord doesn't tolerate if somebody treats him impersonally. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna asks, "Which of your forms is personal form or impersonal form? What way do we approach you?" Krishna explains that, approaching me as a person is what is most pleasing to me. So therefore, impersonalism is also a contamination which we need to remove. Therefore, when Mahaprabhu used to come in front of the Lord, "Pratima nahi tumi sakshat Rajendra Nandan." You are not just a idol in which the Lord is manifesting his energy, but he is directly the Supreme Lord. One devotee says that most of us, when we come, we think that he is a marble statue and I am alive. But a true devotee thinks, I am like a stone who is not melting, and you are the Supreme Lord who is performing so many pastimes that I am not able to perceive it. So, the Archa Murti of the Lord is a very merciful manifestation, as Prabhupada explains, so that anyone can come and see the Lord. Once a small little boy, he had come for the Gita course along with his father, and the father came to me and he said, "Prabhuji, my kid is saying, I want to see God. That where can I see God?" So I told him, "He's on the first floor. Did you see him? Go and see him." But when we come and see the Archa Murti, if we don't have Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochana, if we don't have purified eyes anointed with love, then we may see just a marble form. But for the devotees, they see the Lord in its supreme majesty, sweetness in the Archa Murti. And therefore, before Vidura approached personally the Lord, he was going to all these holy places, Adhishtito Yani Sahasra Murti, because the Lord is manifested in all these holy places. It is not just to see the Lord, take darshan of the Lord in all these holy places, but it was to associate with the devotees who are sincerely worshipping him. And we see this, that devotees all over the world, in all over places, how much dedication they have to worship the Lord. Recently in my travels, I was in one place, Denver, and I met one Prabhupada's disciple, and Prabhupada gave her a very unique name, and her name is Nidra Devi Dasi. And I was thinking, if any of us get that name, we will try to fulfill the meaning of that name by trying to sleep. Like Prabhupada mentions in that I have been given this name as Bhakti Vedanta. Please give me the intelligence and the strength to live to that name. So this devotee, Nidra Mataji, she was given that name, of course, and she never, it was a like a puzzle for her. That what kind of name is this? Some devotees said it is Yoga Nidra. No, the Lord is always in the Yoga Nidra and is continuously meditating. How can I deliver the living entities? And then after Srila Prabhupada passed away, she was in Canada. Prabhupada came in her dream, in her sleep, and he instructed her to go to this particular place, Denver, and serve Radha Govinda there. And this was in 1980s. So then she understood, no, Nidra, that the spiritual master's instructions can also come if the disciple is connected sincerely to serve him. What is the meaning of this name? And Prabhupada came in her dream and told her, you go to Denver and serve Shri Radha Govinda, where Prabhupada had personally established these deities. And although her name is Nidra Mataji, and she is in her 70s, she is one of the most active book distributors and serving Radha Govinda, anyone that comes to the temple, with such hospitality that even when I visited, I felt so touched that this great Prabhupada's disciple doesn't need to come and welcome me and speak to me, and she had arranged wonderful hospitality for anyone that's coming. And all the devotees that were saying that all our laziness, all our just vanishes when we see her serving with so much energy, even at this grand old age. And I definitely felt purified by that association. So all over the world and all these holy places, especially the devotee with such dedication, determination, Prabhupada explains that about one lady who was serving Radha Raman, just old lady getting water daily from the Yamuna to the temple of Radha Raman. And Prabhupada said that she is going to go back to Godhead because she is just so dedicated in her service. No matter it's hot or cold, Vrindavan can become so hot. And this dedication that we can see when we go around. And one of the highlights of devotees visiting any of these holy places is like when we go to Mayapur, all devotees make it a point that to get the blessings of Jananivas Prabhu. Of course, Pankajangri Prabhu is no more there. This is my first time that we'll go without his presence. And when we go to Vrindavan or any holy place, we are eager to go and meet these dedicated devotees, and in their presence we regain that dedication, that resolve to serve the Lord sincerely. And Prabhupada explains that was the reason why he was going all these different holy places, so that the burden of sin that he was carrying because of his association can be removed. And there is a similar passage in the Western world of a person who goes on a journey to the spiritual world, and this entire journey is has been put into a book called as A Pilgrim's Progress. And the pilgrim, the one who wants to reach Godhead, the first symptom of his is that he is understanding how much baggage of karma or sin he is carrying. And the more he is starting to read the scripture in the Western world, the more he is starting to read the scripture, the more and more that load, that heaviness of the baggage he is realizing. Most of us, we don't take shelter of the Lord because we don't understand how much contaminated, how much heavy we are loaded with our karma and sin. But we see our acharyas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Amara Jivan Sada Pape Rata. So they are becoming aware how much burden of sin am I carrying, and the only way to relinquish this all this burden is to keep walking. Although, and on this journey, on this pilgrim's progress, he faces so many no obstacles. One of the biggest obstacles is despondency. That the goal of achieving Krishna Prem or Krishna's lotus feet seems so far away, because we are still so much attracted. Although we feel the heaviness of sin, at the same time we also no not able to get rid of the sin, get rid of the sinful tendencies that we carry. So with this heaviness, Prabhupada explains that Vidura, although he was no highly elevated soul, he considered himself no affected by the sin of the Kauravas, or like Mukunda of impersonalism, or no not or having the ahankar of being born in this high birth, or having a lot of wealth. All these are heavy baggage, and with this heavy baggage we are not able to approach the Lord. One of the lessons that we get from Damodar Leela is that Ma Yashoda, she was no already quite aged when Krishna was her little child, and when Krishna was running from Mother Yashoda, she was having a very heavy body, but still paramrishtam atyanto to duttagopa, she was able to capture Krishna, because she was anaga, her heart was light. And so therefore we are able to capture Krishna, we are able to approach Krishna when we have a light heart. But Kalayavana, although he was very athletic, but his heart was loaded with sins, he was not able to be approached. And then one Acharya mentions that Krishna, when he was running from Mother Yashoda, he thought that if I run inside the home, Mother will catch me somewhere or other. So let me run into the courtyard, because in the courtyard there was preparations for Indra Yagya, which is Govardhan Puja that got converted. So there were preparations for Indra Yagya. This happened in the 3rd year and in the 7th year. So every year, just the next day after Diwali was Indra Puja. So there was lot of hustle bustle, lot of people were there in the courtyard. And Krishna thought that in the home, usually parents are willing to correct their child, but in the public they kind of become little hesitant. Like even in that home, say if the grandmother is there, as soon as the mother or the father starts to scold, immediately they'll run to the grandmother to protect them. So Krishna ran into the courtyard, thinking that mother will become very hesitant. No, our whole family's name will be spoiled if I go and chastise Krishna in the public. So she may restrain. But she didn't had any kind of hesitation that let my own name go to ruins, but I don't want Krishna to become a bad boy by mischief. So therefore her name is Yashoda, one who gives all fame, one who is only interested in the betterment of Krishna, for the safety and happiness of Krishna, and not anything for her. So all glories to Krishna, nothing for me. So although Mother Krishna ran into the courtyard to just save himself, that someone or other will be able to stop me from getting punished. Maybe my Bade Papa Upananda may come and stop Mother Yashoda. Someone may come and stop me, or Mother Yashoda may herself feel shy to punish Krishna in front of everyone. But her resolve to give a lesson to Krishna, so that Krishna recognizes, repents and rectifies his mistake, and Krishna doesn't become a bad boy, was her concern. So this pastime also shows that how when we are purified by continuous chanting, serving the Lord, then all the anarthas that are there are removed, and then Krishna becomes captured in our hearts. So I'll stop here, and time is already up, so we'll not take any questions. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.